Find us on Facebook, email us at head2headpinball@gmail.com, or go to our website at head2headpinball.com.
Welcome everybody to the Head2Head Pinball Podcast. This is episode 36A. What's that about?
Is that because I just came back from Canada, eh?
No. Nice.
That was horrible, Joe.
And we're right into it. Here we go.
I'm Ryan C, by the way.
Are you?
And I'm back in Australia.
Welcome
G'day, mate.
back. G'day, Cobber.
G'day, Cobbo. Is it Cobbo? Cobbo.
Cobber. Yeah.
Cobbo sounds more manly, though.
Does it?
Okay.
From some people, I think it does.
Okay. What have we got today, Marty?
Well,
why is this episode 36A and not just 36?
Because we reckon it's very likely this almost exact time tomorrow night you're going to get 36B, because in between now and then something is going to be released. What could it be? Oh my god, oh my god.
Find out soon in like 1 minute.
You won't believe what happens next. Click here to find out. So what we had on the weekend was it wasn't necessarily a reveal. It was possibly an announcement, or probably the best way to describe it is an admission.
Yeah, I mean, because we live in the podcast world and sometimes we hang out on forums and everyone talks, we kind of knew that Iron Maiden was coming.
We've been saying it for how many months?
Exactly. So it wasn't really news to us or exciting for them to finally admit that it was coming. But in 24 hours, we'll have the rest of the details. And I guess we think like this, but there's a lot of people that didn't know it was coming, like some people on Facebook and things like that. They're normal everyday customers.
Yeah, but also, I guess previously there has been rumours and of titles coming out, and they haven't been announced. So, you never really know till they finally say it. And what we know is, what we officially know is very little, in that we know that it's Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast, which is based from their video game, and also now a comic. So it's a simple.
Is it the name of their upcoming tour as well?
And it's also the name of their world tour, which at this stage haven't seen any dates for Australia. But yeah, and look, it's Legacy of the Beast is also sort of a reference to arguably their most famous and popular album, which is The Number of the Beast.
When they talk about the Beast, they're talking about the devil?
Correct.
Okay. Why are so many of the songs about the devil?
That was probably the cool thing to do at the time. I don't know.
Okay. If they come to Australia, are you going?
I might do. I did see them last time they were here, and it was a spectacular concert. It really was.
When was the last time they were here?
I honestly reckon it was probably 2-3 years ago.
Okay. If I'll go.
Would you?
I'm after coming back from the US and Canada, I'm all about like not being at home. Like I want to get out more. It's so much fun. So I'm so bad with the tickets and stuff. I always find out like the after it happens. So someone let me know if they go on sale in Australia.
Well, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. You and I can go. We'll have a head-to-head Iron Maiden concert fest.
I'll know like their top 5 songs and just be scratching my head for the rest of them.
Well, that's pretty much all you really need to know. After a while, they do kind of sound a bit samey. Don't kill me, Iron Maiden fans, for saying that. I love Iron Maiden, but though even those fans that are got their fists in anger at the moment, just put your fist down and think to yourself, what are the most radically different Iron Maiden songs? There's some are slow.
This is coming from a guy who is on the pre-order list to buy the Iron Maiden LE pinball machine.
So therefore, I'm in a good position to say some of their songs are a bit samey. Is all I'm saying, just a little bit, but one of the most phenomenal live bands to see. So, yep, you and I will go and see them as soon as it's announced. So,
deal.
You know what? If we're always the last to know. If anybody out there's listening, first of all, hears about the Iron Maiden Australian concert, send us an email, head2headpinball@gmail.com.
We've gone 5 minutes without actually saying anything about the pinball machine. So,
we said that it's called Legacy of the Beast. That's something about it.
So that's what Stern has let us know. What do we know from other sources? We know, well, I mean, I guess by the time like 50% of people, what are our stats, Marty? Like in the first, I guess we got like 10-hour window for people to listen to this before they actually know the truth. So how many people are going to listen to it in the first 10 hours?
About 80% of people listen in the first 24 hours.
Oh, okay. Well, like 10 hours or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. Quite a few. So
quite a few. Okay.
Yeah, you know.
So if you're listening to this, you're going to get a sneak peek about what you're going to be confirmed to know tomorrow. And I guess this is stupid of us to do this because if we're wrong, it sounds really stupid when people listen to it after the reveal.
That's what's fun about this. That's why, you know, Ryan and I talked about it today, and you know, Ryan's back, and I wanted him just to have a day of relaxing. But we were sort of debating whether we do an episode after the reveal tomorrow, but you know, we're still not even 100% sure. I mean, we're pretty sure it's happening tomorrow, but it'd be silly if it didn't happen, and then we'd have to record the episode tomorrow. So we're doing one this side. We're going to talk a little bit of speculation about Iron Maiden. We've got other things to talk about, and then tomorrow, hopefully, we'll go into more in depth.
Okay, so tomorrow, I believe at 10 a.m. or so, they're going to show the pictures of the machine and a feature matrix. Later on in the day, time is not confirmed yet. They are planning to possibly do a dead flip stream, showing one of the machines. Who knows if it's the Pro or the LE?
Well, he did say on his Facebook page today something along the lines of, "Sorry, no stream tonight, but I'll make up for it tomorrow."
And Keith Elwin posted a picture saying "Burning the Midnight Oil" with Tim Sexton and Dave, which is the head of the software kind of team at the moment. So maybe Tim Sexton is the coder on this and not Lyman Sheets, and maybe since Tim kind of just joined Stern, maybe the code kind of base and some basic structure was completed by someone else, and he's going to be the main rules guy from here on in. As I said, all confirmed in a couple of hours.
I'm not saying Tim Sexton involved, but sure. Not
really?
Not that. Well, I think this game's been in development for a very long time. I don't think, you know, in the last couple of months he can do that much, can he? He may be.
Well, can they put Lyman Sheets on the game when Batman's still not finished yet? Surely not.
No, that would never happen.
Okay, so Iron Maiden LE. A little birdie has told me that the LE. I mean, what have people been complaining about? With Guardians of the Galaxy LE and maybe Star Wars LE? Is that the latest two Stern machines?
I think with a lot of the LEs, they're sort of really saying that there's probably not enough in them to warrant the price or to even call it a limited edition, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they got on a pretty good run at one stage and they were all kind of selling out very quickly. Now, I don't think I think Star Wars eventually did sell out. Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't think has sold out. So I believe the rumor mill is that they're upping their game big time, and Iron Maiden LE will feature. Do you know the Super LE for Batman? How they've got that foil 3?
Yes.
Have you played one? You've seen it in person now, haven't you?
Yeah, the very first time I saw Batman was a Super LE up on the Gold Coast.
Yep. So I believe Iron Maiden LE will have those kind of unique foil cabinet details that won't be available, you know, on the premium or the pro. It will include a shaker, so there'll be no shaker gate this time. Like
isn't what we're calling it, shaker gate?
Shaker gate. Just well, I mean, they'll just take it out of the next machine. It's just like in out, shake it all about.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know how Stern has their Stern glass? I think they call it the HD glass or something like that.
Sure.
Apparently, that's going to be in there as well.
Wow. Okay.
Mirrored back glass, which
thank you.
Which, I mean, most of them have that anyway.
Yes.
Art blades.
Yep.
Right. That's going to put a damper on my thriving mirror blade business.
Ooh.
A custom shooter rod. So that's usually an accessory. So I'm not sure if it's going to be part of the LE package. But apparently there's an Eddie head shooter rod. And the sound system, if you remember, the sound system on the Super LE was I believe it's called a JBL sound system.
Sure.
I looked up the Super LE, but this little birdie told me that it's the same sound system as the Super LE. I looked it up, and apparently it sounds a lot better. The Super LEs that I've played, I can't remember hearing that much of a difference, but I guess Batman is kind of using old sounds versus Iron Maiden, which will probably be using a lot newer sounds.
So what do you think it doesn't have that a Super LE would have?
The topper, I guess. The Super LE came, and the LE came with a topper.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I forgot one. It comes with a red metallic powder-coated trim.
Okay.
So that's the LE. 4 flippers. It's Archer.
It's Archer. We know it's Archer.
Who knows how much it'll be kind of different, how much the design will be tweaked. I guess we'll see that tomorrow. So that's exciting. I mean, this is the thing. Price-wise, do we think that, with all these upgrades, they're going to just chuck it in for free? Because another part of the rumor is that the price may increase a little.
By about $500, I've heard.
Yeah, but who knows what country that's coming from. I mean, currency swings all the time, USD versus Canadian dollars, Australian dollars, euro. So who knows where that price
yeah, I know. And look,
increase is coming from.
Again, I'm saying it this week again, but we get rumours from all over the world. So you just don't know whether they're talking US dollars or Deutschmark.
Or Vietnamese dong.
Yeah, dong.
So that's exciting. It's exciting to know that Stern are kind of stepping up the game in their LE department, because it's good for business. When the LEs sell out immediately, then people kind of get their ass into gear. And it's not. I don't think it's a good look for LEs to kind of just be available because they didn't really put the effort into them.
Yeah, look, good on them. I mean, again, it's one of those things. There's probably a bit of lag time because their production cycle, what do they say? It's like 18 months to 2 years for a pinball machine to come to market, right? From when they first start designing it. So, with all the pressure that they've got to up their game, they've probably got machines that have already got their bill of materials. They've already got everything done. They've got to wait for those machines to be revealed before whatever they're going to step up comes to market. So I reckon this is probably what you'll see, but what a good way to do it if they're going to do it with Iron Maiden.
Yeah. So you, just to confirm, you do have your name down?
I do.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm going to get it. I tell you what I have been doing during the week is watching a lot of, it's actually really only the one video I've watched, but I've watched it a lot. And that is the Archer Whitewood that somebody's got, just watching how it plays, how the flow of it is. And do you know what's one of these really interesting things that when I looked at it, I went, the play field is quite
open,
bare. Well, yeah, but open, I guess, is probably a nicer way of saying it. Sorry, Keith.
Barren. It's barren.
Oh, it's barren, mate. But again, this is what we've talked about. If you took off the art on Ghostbusters, it's fairly open.
Yeah.
And a lot of the machines are fairly open. That's just the way they look. So it was just, the reason I'm making that point, it was just, I was watching Archer trying to sort of, squint my eyes and imagine that it's Iron Maiden artwork. And I've still got to see this thing. Like everyone's saying to me, oh, you've gone. And when I put up the video on Facebook, someone said, oh, I can hear that you're going for it. And someone said, on Twitter, have you got your wallet out yet? I still want to see how it looks. And I'll say that because I've also been watching, when it was announced, I've been watching a lot of the gameplay of Legacy of the Beast, just to see the art style and see what that looks like. And I'm not a massive fan of that. So
what? Are you talking about the video game?
Yes, I'm talking about the video game.
I've got to look this up because I've got no reference point.
That's all right. We can link it in the show notes. It doesn't matter. By this time tomorrow, everyone's going to see the art anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm just sort of talking about my journey thus far to will I, won't I? Well,
this is so stupid because then tomorrow we're going to be like, yep, I got it. Yeah, deposit paid.
Well, the challenge as well is that I haven't sold my Hobbit. So that's still money that's tied up there.
Hobbit, please, yeah.
I've also just paid for my trip to America, so that's swept out a whole heap of cash. So
I can't believe you organised it already. I literally was like booking hotels and stuff while I was overseas.
Well, no, I like to be organised, so I've got it all. It's all paid. The only thing this week in pinball, we'll talk about it later, I've got to work out how I'm going to get from Toronto to Pittsburgh. So that's the only thing. Anyway, back to what I'm saying is I was watching a lot of gameplay of Legacy of the Beast, and I'm not a big fan of that art style. So
okay, what's Zombie Yeti art? But who knows? I mean, I guess Zombie Yeti art on the playfield. Yep, and there's also obviously the animations and stuff. But let's move on, because as I say, all this is going to be almost redundant tomorrow. Well,
there's just a couple of things to note as well. So,
okay.
Just the other thing to note as well before we move on is that we sort of did see a bit of a sneak preview from the gold standard himself, Coast to Coast. I believe he may have an interview with Keith coming up.
Exactly. So we'll have the Cliff Notes version of the interview, the gameplay footage from Dead Flip, and the initial announcement as well in a mega marathon 36B episode tomorrow.
And so what I've heard is that isn't it Rolling Stone that are going to be making the announcement tomorrow?
I think Jeff crossed that out and on This Week in Pinball and said something else. So
okay, cool.
Who cares? I mean, it'll be on all social media 5 minutes after.
So, everybody, you can now stop listening to the podcast and tune in 24 hours' time. But for those that are continuing, we've got $1 million giveaway. So, thank you for staying.
Stay tuned. So, this flipping podcast, Taylor and Tommy, they interviewed the guys from Kingpin, and we got a little bit more information about the story behind Circus Maximus bringing Kingpin to Texas Pinball Festival. The summary, I guess, I listened to it on the plane, is that in late December, they started putting it together. So that's only a couple of months ago. The whole emulation side to port it over to P-Rock took 3 or 4 weeks work. They didn't really play test it because they had the play field. Apparently it wasn't clear coded, and they kind of were playing around with it, and they said they don't like the way the ball rolls and the way it plays. They took everything off, clear coded it, put everything back on, and this was just kind of like a couple of weeks before TPF. All the parts used, I believe, besides kind of the new system driving it all, were all original parts. And they still have the original ramp molds as part of their kind of purchase. Okay. What else? They said that some Kingpin owners have reached out to them and are willing to help with parts if they need them. They contacted the old coders that worked on the project originally, and kind of expecting like, oh, hey, obviously you guys didn't get to finish it. What was the idea behind this mode and that mode, and was it going to be deeper? And I guess they found out that the ideas weren't that deep necessarily. Right. They as in, like, what is in there is actually the game. They just wanted to fix a bunch of bugs that exist in the code.
Right. Okay.
So they didn't give any clues as to what the new codes will detail, but there will be like a switch you can kind of pull. So, like, want to play original game, flick the switch one way.
So it's like a dip switch.
I'm just making that up. I mean, but it will be an option. It might be selectable in the menu or something, but both of them will be on there. If you want to be true to the original, you don't need to buy a separate machine. It'll be a software selectable kind of thing. Well,
I mean, that was probably the problem with Capcom games is layout's fine. It looks great. In fact, I think
Flipper Strength is good.
Flipper Strength is amazing. I think probably the highlight of all those machines really is the art to the Flipper Strength, right? I love that game. Great flipper. But
we need to start making T-shirts, and one of them should be just something about Capcom and Flipper Strength. This is what everyone mentions when they mention Capcom games.
It's a missed opportunity for you and your TPF T-shirts.
Yes.
But really, it's the code that's really been lacking in the games, in that they're just not very deep.
Yeah.
So no wonder they need to. So when they wrote spoke to them and said, what were your rule ideas? They're like, well, that's it. They should have known. They should have known before they picked up the phone. That was all that was going to be there. It's a Capcom game. Strong flippers, though. So
strong flippers. 10 out of 10 flippers will flip again.
Yes.
A++. I was going to say, so I think I mean, they do have ambitious plans. They wouldn't put a date on it, but they said they would like to start shipping sometime in 2018. They are in talks with a couple of kind of contract manufacturers, and I don't believe it's kind of like the letter folding type. It's more like the people that are producing pinball machines type. Who knows? It could be CGC or it could be American Pinball, who knows? It does run P-Rock, as I mentioned before.
Yep.
And it's quite funny. So now we've got Circus Maximus using P-Rock. We have Spooky Pinball that uses P-Rock for TNA and now Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe American Pinball also do the same. So that's really good for Jerry and the P-Rock crew, because basically that's, it helps people out, I guess. I don't think
Were you going to say it's propping up P3?
Well, no, there's nothing to do with that. I'm not going to make any comments on P3 in that regard. I'm just saying that there's 3 companies now that are producing, potentially hundreds of pinball machines a year, and they're using the same system. Yeah. It kind of, I guess, unifies everything.
Well, that sounded like I was being a bit of a dick, but what I was actually meaning to say was I like that, because that really secures that company, so they can really focus on the multimorphic platform just being as great as it can be.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that they've got that. I would hate to think that there's some companies where they dry up on their cash flow and therefore they fall under. They've got that keeping them alive, so they can just keep focusing on that platform.
Yeah, and it's not only that, it's kind of the tools that are immediately available to you if you're going to be developing a game using the P-Rock system. I mean, I understand for producing thousands of pinball machines, you'd want to produce your own potentially, I guess, because it would keep the cost down, and you might want to tweak the system in a certain way that wasn't available with P-Rock. But if you're keeping the numbers under a certain amount, it just makes sense to kind of buy something off the shelf that would plug straight into your machine, and you get going from there.
Was Big Lebowski P-Rock as well?
I'm guessing it was. I don't know.
It might have been. Anyway, so good on them. So everything that's not everybody else is P-Rock these days. So that's good.
Yeah. I mean, good luck to them. It sounds like they're still at the very early stages. And as I said, because they use all original parts, they have to go now and manufacture.
Well, then that's what I was going to say before.
I really don't think any will ship in 2018. And I'm not saying that in a negative way, and I don't mean any ill will against the company, but I just believe pinball is hard, and they're going to start to see how hard it really is.
Not everyone thinks it's hard.
Okay. Mr. We're not allowed to mention him because he likes us mentioning him. No.
He does. So shall we talk about more information that we've received about Alice Cooper Nightmare Castle?
Go for it, Marty. Okay. I'm going to be talking a lot later on about my week in pinball, so this is all you.
This is me to balance it out. So
yes,
this is what we know after the release that we had last weekend, like of the proper release. So it's limited to 500 games. We know that. You were on record saying that they're going to sell out. In fact, I think you said easy.
Yes.
And what we know is that I believe Charlie's already said it's had their biggest sales day they've ever had. So
yeah, and when Rob Zombie was kind of released, it was a free-for-all. And I believe within a couple of days they said they're sold out, or maybe within 24 hours. I can't remember. But I guess that means they've already sold maybe 200 or so. I emailed Charlie, but it was just a couple of hours ago, so yeah. I'm not sure if they're going to release their numbers. Probably in their best interest not to, and just to, not. Yeah. But the best day ever is, it's great.
That's awesome. And also what we know about that is that they're saying that shipping will begin June 2018, and that if you are an existing Spooky customer, you'll get bumped to the front of the line for your loyalty. But what do we know about the game? So limited to 500 games, 10 classic songs from Alice Cooper.
There's someone's mentioned what they are, but geez, I think I only recognise one of them.
Yeah, I'm the same. I looked at it and went, yeah, I recognise a couple of them, but you know what? I'll sidebar. I've talked about this before with Aerosmith. When I played Aerosmith and I went, I don't know any of these songs. I love those songs from Aerosmith.
How do you not know any of the songs in Aerosmith?
Because there's only really 2 or 3 songs that anybody knows. And one of them is because of Run DMC. is all I'm saying.
Okay.
So is all I'm saying. But a lot of their early sort of bluesy stuff is on there that sort of wasn't really, certainly in Australia, wasn't really all that commercial. So that's why it was missing. But I love all those songs on the machine. So even though Alice Cooper, some of those songs I don't know the titles of, they're probably going to be great songs.
Sure.
And so there's also 6 instrumental songs from Matt Piggy D Montgomery. I don't know.
Who dat?
I don't know. Maybe that's the in-between soundtrack between the songs, maybe. I don't know.
I've got the list of songs here if you want me to read them, but
Go for it, and I'll tell you which ones I know.
Feed My Frankenstein.
No.
Cold Ethel.
Ethel. Yep. Apparently that's a very interesting story, that one. Yep.
Yeah. Lost in America.
No.
Disco Bloodbath Boogie Fever.
I don't know, but right now, I want to fucking listen to that song. Right now.
Disco Bloodbath Boogie Fever.
Say it again, one more time.
Disco Bloodbath Boogie Fever. That's how it goes, right?
I want to listen to that song right now.
No More Mr. Nice Guy.
Yes, I know that one.
Brutal Planets.
No.
It's The Little Things.
Nope.
Go to Hell.
That's a terrible song.
$1 Billion Babies.
Nope.
And there's one more that this person didn't know. I just screen capped a post on Pinsides a week ago or something.
You know, already, I don't know any of them, but what was that name of that one again that I like?
Disco Bloodbath Boogie Fever.
Come on, right there. That is just going to be the best thing ever.
Okay, in 36B, maybe I'll sing you out with Disco Bloodbath Boogie Fever.
Okay, you've got 24 hours to learn that song.
To learn the song.
So you can sing me out. Anyway, it doesn't really matter as long as it sort of fits the theme of the machine.
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy. There you go.
Gosh, yes.
Well, those songs just don't suit it. Anyway, it's got a working guillotine toy. Well, we know that. We saw it. It looks amazing. The Castle Physical 2-ball lock with moving Frankenstein monster. I think that's the Frankenstein that peers over the wall or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of looks cool. 3 control drop targets, including 2 Denisi style locking on tower. On lower, sorry, 1 on upper. So they're now just owning it now. It's the Denisi style lock.
Where are they?
I saw them on the upper. It says on the lower. It says 2 on the lower, 1 on the upper. And I think we may have mentioned it as well, but it's got one of what I think it's a very underrated pinball machine, and it has one of the coolest features in an underrated pinball machine. And I'm talking about GoldenEye.
I played that at Texas Pinball Festival.
Had you not played it before?
No.
What'd you think?
And the funny thing was, the coolest part of it, well, maybe the second coolest if you think the crotchware magnet thing is the coolest, but
sure, it is.
The ball lock, it wouldn't catch, and it was me, Dr. John, and Ron Hallett, and we were all like, oh, we must not be hitting it properly, and I think all of us hit the satellite dish about 20 times each and didn't catch the ball. So that kind of ruins the game because we couldn't start multi-ball.
Okay.
But it's funny that it has that feature that the ball goes in the out lane, I guess, and
yes.
it catches, but there was no exposed magnet, so it was right where James Bond's dick should be.
Sure.
So it
Penis.
just literally his penis, censor that out.
This is a G-rated show. Fuckers.
So it just keeps on rubbing his dick until his dick just disappears.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, his penis.
His penis. So, but you know, I've got to tell you, we when I first ran Melbourne Silverball League, we used to have it at Bartronica, and they had a GoldenEye there. And so many times, people would think that they drained and walk away.
Oh, wow.
And the ball would just spit up, and by the time they realised, it was gone.
So on Alice Cooper, it holds the ball, and then you have to press the button.
Yeah.
So do you have to do that on GoldenEye as well?
No, it automatically does it.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I wonder what happens if you don't do it. If it's just like, okay, you're an idiot, and it just drains.
It probably does do that.
Yeah.
And then probably says,
that's cool.
You have failed.
Yeah.
Probably.
Man, I probably have nowhere to bring it up later on in the episode, but people really, really hate when pinball machines tell you that they failed, and I don't understand why. And it's mainly got to do with Houdini, because Houdini not only tells you that you failed, it also like takes jabs at you when you miss a skill shot. It's like, oh, you're not very skilled at all. People get upset, and I'm like, take a chill pill. This is pinball, man.
Come on. We had, what's his name? Steve Ritchie's name, Blue Better.
Exactly.
Come on. People have been ribbing us for years. Get
Anyway.
over yourselves, bloody snowflakes. Anyway. So, directional magnet hidden in the castle. Sure. Okay.
Okay, don't know what that is.
Cold Ethel balcony drop lock. There you go. 11 unique shots, 4 different ramp shots.
What is the difference between a unique shot and a shot? I mean, how many shots are repeated? Like, no one's ever going to say 10 shots, but they're not unique, right?
Well, if you think about, I'll give you an example. Mustang, where you've got that left orbit that can have, 3 different, levels. That's one shot, isn't it?
I played it 3 days ago, but I don't remember.
Right. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's what they're saying. There's 11. Each one of them is so unique.
Okay.
Sure. 4 different ramp shots, middle return lane, habit trails with unique spiraling return on right. That's
really quick.
Freaking cool, though.
Yeah, it's quick. I thought for some reason it'd be like a Creature from the Back Lagoon where it'll go around really slowly. No, it's back to your flippers in a split second.
It's freaking amazing. I love the look of that. It's got scoops. It's got subways. It's loaded with Castle and Monster sculpts by Back Alley Creations. Fantastic art package by, I don't know, Zorno Must Be Destroyed. Full RGB lighting, beautiful LCD animations, and a P-Rock board system. And what I'm going to say is this. So, I said it last week, and I was never really that overwhelmed by the reveal. Sorry, Charlie, don't kill me for that. But I've got, there's some saving here. And I kept saying it was the angle, it was the lighting. I don't know what it was, but this week, Spooky on their Facebook page released a video, quite a relatively long video, sort of at
3 minutes.
Yeah, 3 minutes. And it was, let's say it was at navel view.
Okay.
At your belly button. It looks freaking amazing. It looks awesome. I finally looked at it, saw all the RGB going very tastefully done. I get it. I love it. I just think it looks amazing. Just needed some really good video footage. And so if you could do it again, do it all over again, I would say get your promo video ready as part of the reveal. Yeah,
well, I believe, as it always kind of is, I think Jack Danger will be heading down there soon to do he's a very busy guy, this Mr. Danger. He'll be heading down there soon to kind of do a reveal video, because in that video, I guess people were just kind of pressuring Charlie to release a video because orders opened up, I believe, in the last 24 hours, and people are still hesitant to kind of put money down without seeing a bit more, just from kind of noisy footage. So
no, I understand.
Now they've got a bit more, but I mean, I guess you're still ordering based on its potential, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so one more point about this. The price. Mm-hmm. The price is $6,450.
US dollars.
US dollars. Now, how much is a Stern Pro?
In the US,
yeah,
I think it's advertised for $6 and it sells for like $5 or something.
Yeah, okay. So
I think it is maybe a little bit below a premium.
Yeah, so it's sort of in between pro and premium. I think it looks every bit a premium.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
It's just good value, and we're not shills for Spooky at all. I really like.
Speak for yourself. I organised a kickback at TPF.
I'm sure you did.
No. I got to make sure I tell people that's not true, because everyone believes every
I know.
bullshit thing we say on this show.
But no, I think by now, our 36th and a half episode, people know very little of what we've. In fact, I think it was one of our iTunes reviews that said something along the lines of, great podcast, just don't take it as fact. Okay, fair enough. That's an honest review. Yeah. Look, the other thing as well is there's add-ons, so knocker and shaker motor kits are all available from Pinball Life. There's protector sets, graver, decals, mirror blades. The scary blue powder coat, $120.
Yeah, I thought that was included. That looks really freaking good. Yeah, pity it kind of wasn't included. I'm not sure what the our standard silver vein is Is stock. Okay.
Yeah. So jazz it up with a notch with some shiny, deep blue, scary goodness.
Yes. Please jazz it up. I'm not telling people to spend more money than they need to, but it does look really nice. And I thought that was kind of stock, so...
Well, the one that we've all been talking about with this is the Butter Edition cabinet. So what is this? Our own recipe. Cabinets are hand-dipped in rich coloured inks, no decals, rolled in automotive clear coat protection, and buffed to shiny, delicious perfection. $1,000.
It's like you're reading something off a French menu. Would you like the crêpe parfait? It's $1,000
with the shiny, delicious perfection.
Yeah,
$1,000.
Yeah. So I think they want people to pick those up in the US because they don't really like to ship them. So who knows if people in Australia are even allowed to order that?
But what happens if they get scuffed? What do you do? You know?
Yeah, exactly. So are we done with that?
I think we're done with that. I'm, my understanding is right now, I believe 4 confirmed coming to Australia.
Oh, exclusive.
There you go, bit of exclusive news.
And that's after one day. So,
it's after. I think it was actually after half a day.
Okay.
So there you go.
Well,
that's enough, I think, on Spooky for this week. I'm sure next week we'll have some more information and more updates on how many in Australia. But let's move on to something, and I'm just going to say something that I just don't think I was ever going to say. I don't think anybody ever thought they were going to say. And it's tournament news. And the words I'm going to say are... Josh Sharp wins a major. Woo! Well done, Josh. That's probably going to be your only one, though.
Oh, jeez.
Well. You know what? I got to tell you. Like I was watching it, and I was so going for him. I was rooting for him.
Over the little kids. Over. Oh gosh. Jesus.
He's a good-looking guy. What can I say?
Colin Irvin was he's was like 15 years old or something
like that, and he's a very good player.
Wow.
I met him at
insane
Disc. Yeah, he's a really, really nice guy too.
Friend of the show, Jeff Teolis, how did he go?
Well, so I think he got out first round, but that's what I was going to say. When I was really going for Josh, but I genuinely felt really bad for Jeff Teolis because he can't call him, was it Susan Lucci anymore? The Susan Lucci of pinball.
Who's Susan Lucci? I don't even know what that is.
Some woman, some actress that was always up for like an Academy Award and always missed out.
Okay.
And then apparently she got one and it was a shit performance and I think they got out of sympathy. I think she missed out 30 times. Anyway.
Yeah, he was up against Trent Augustine, Bowen and Keith Owen. So like the group of death, basically.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
He did it.
And there was also a Heads-Up Championship.
Yes, the IFPA Heads-Up Championship. And not to be, letting his brother have all the limelight. Who won?
Zach Sharp, the other Sharp.
Yes. Couldn't let him have his moment. Had to just, pop in there as well. That's what he does.
Roger Sharp checking his text messages that day. Hey, Dad, I won. Hey, Dad, I won again. Yeah.
They're awesome. Very good, those boys. So, in all honesty, well done, Josh. Well, both, Josh and Zach, but Zach's got many trophies and number ones, but really good for Josh. You could just tell everybody that was watching was just, they were trying to avoid saying, oh my God, he could come second, but...
I watched the last game on RoboCop, and from my understanding, it wasn't like a super great score by Josh, but Colin Irvin kind of tilted all 3 balls, I believe.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Did you watch that last game?
I didn't get to watch the end. I just saw the result.
Yeah. So, that could have ended in tears for Josh, but I think he got a little bit lucky there, I guess. But you can't really say that in pinball, right? Because that's just how pinball goes.
That is. But I've got to say, those machines were set up so brutal, and in particular, Aerosmith. Just the widest out lanes with no rubbers. It was just sudden death out there, and you would just expect people would be able to blow that machine up, and they just couldn't. Like a 6 to 9 million point game was a good score.
Yeah.
You know, it was, you know, if you got to a 3-ball multi-ball, you were going for it.
No one was aborting.
No, because there were so many games that I watched where people didn't even get into multi-ball.
Wow.
So it was really getting the crank it up, and I can't remember whichever mode it is, but the one with the yellow inserts on the side stand-ups, everyone was going for that because they're worth good points.
Okay.
So anyway, it was great fun to watch. I'm glad. I honestly, I got to just as the finals happened, just after the Iron Maiden announcement was made, and then had people turn up, so I couldn't get to watch it, unfortunately.
Cool. Something that I forgot to mention last week is that our good friend Christopher Franchi, I think he started up.
He is now back as friend of the show.
Yes, before he was enemy of the show. But Pinball Cult, a T-shirt, little kind of like offshoot venture by him, and I got his first T-shirt at TPF, and I forgot to mention it last week. It's actually size L, and I'm a medium. He didn't make any mediums because pinball people are a little bit bigger most of the time. So, Marty, do you fit L?
I could wear it. It would be extraordinarily baggy, but yeah, I could probably wear it.
Okay, it's yours. From Franchi to me to you.
Well, I'll cut out the middleman. It's from me. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you giving me a T-shirt directly. So, well, we love pinball T-shirts, don't we?
I got like 4 or 5 T-shirts given to me on the weekends.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
So there you go. Thank you, Chris.
Shall we do Slam the Top 100 since we missed it last week?
We did miss it last week, so yes, we should.
Okay, let's get straight into it. Well, should we explain? We don't need to explain anymore, do we?
Well, for those people that are listening, because we did get quite a few new listeners over the last couple of weeks. So
okay, quickly, go.
Okay,
go.
Random number between 1 and 100. It then corresponds to a machine on the top 100 at Pinside. We then have 30 seconds each to talk about how great each machine is, and then we put it to Facebook, and people vote on who won the argument. But ultimately, people just pick their favourite machine.
Or their favourite person, in Lucas's case.
Thank you, Lucas. You're the best.
Okay. Ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, so this is mine. Please generate a number from 0 to 100.
Sure. 51.
51 is Roadshow. Yes.
I love that game, bro. I love that game. Okay. This one's yours. Please generate a number from 0 to 100.
Sure. 7.
Oh,
Marty.
Dialed in. Should we just give up right now? Do we need to go through with this? Because I've always been a big fan of Dialed In, so let's do it.
Okay. You're going to go first, Marty. You ready?
I go first, yes.
Ready, set, go.
Okay, Dialed In. I'm done. No. You know what? I'm just going to waste the remainder of my 30 seconds. I will talk about the fact that it is by far Pat Lawler's greatest achievement in pinball ever. He took time out just to come back for this machine. You love it. I love it. The world loves it. The greatest flow layout there is. I just genuinely think it is. Layout's fantastic. The rules are amazing. It is awesome.
I got lost looking at pictures of Roadshow to see what I can kind of salvage. That was 30 seconds. You ready?
I'm ready. The world is ready.
I can't believe Dialed In 7. Good on Dialed In. That's getting up there. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Roadshow. The true Pat Lawler masterpiece. not Dialed In. A totally non-linear game where you can either go to the south or the north of America. Ooh. Just options galore. And what better music to listen to when you're into multi-ball, but country music. Every little step I take without you. It's just beautiful. And it's definitely not clunky and definitely doesn't have too many ramps. Truckies love this. Taz Tiger, he's a truckie. He loves this game. That's my time up.
Okay.
Your rebuttal.
My rebuttal.
Ready, set, go.
My rebuttal is a question. If you've got 2 Pat Lawlers in front of you, you've got a Dialed In and a Roadshow, which one will you buy, Ryan?
Roadshows cheaper. I can buy like 10 roadshows for $1.
Yeah. So what would you buy?
Oh, $1. Oh, shit. This is the worst match. This is the biggest mismatch ever.
And
You got 2 seconds left, Marty.
No, don't need it.
Okay. All right. You're done. I now have to bag the game. Now I have to roast the ones that I love. Okay. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, everyone loves Rudy's Funhouse. This is Rudy Funhouse times 2. You got 2 heads. What more would you need? Dialed in. The game is reliant on the fucking SIM card hole, and you cannot hit it. Even good players that I talked to this week in pinball agree that you just go into multi-ball and you just pray that the ball goes in there. That is a fundamental flaw with the game, and everyone knows that the game doesn't come dialed in, even though it's called dialed in, and it's super expensive. I'm out.
Yeah, you're out with bugger all, man. That was just shit house.
If I can salvage like 10% of the votes, I'm going to count that as a win. Okay. It's just a little personal win.
You can't just add rules to slam the top 100.
As
It's an
Aaron
institution in the pinball world.
is going to vote for Roadshow. I guarantee it.
Well,
That'll be one vote. I can count on one vote.
Yeah.
He loved that machine. Okay. That's the
So there you go. All right. So go in about 24 hours, go to our Facebook page and we will have the voting there for you to vote for Dialed In.
And if you're not on Facebook, you can't vote.
No, I usually
I was going to say there's another option, but there's no other
No,
option.
I link it on Twitter, but basically the link is to our Facebook page to vote. So anyway,
Yeah.
I'm going to win. Whatever.
This Week in Pinball. Not sponsored by This Week in Pinball from Jeff.
So what we've got to remember is, I mean, yes, you went to Texas Pinball Festival and the whole world is just heaving a sigh of relief that they don't have to hear you talk about Texas Pinball Festival again. However, what we've got to understand is that once Texas Pinball Festival was over, your pinball journey wasn't over.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call it a pinball journey per se, but it ended up being one.
It was. It's pretty much what you did the entire time.
Well, this is the thing. I kind of realized that I'm there alone, right? And what people do I get along with the most? Pinball people.
Yeah, of course.
So, why would I not want to be with the people that I love? Are you going to talk about your week first, or am I just going straight into it?
You just go into your week.
Okay. I'm not going to talk about this stuff too much, but it's probably going to take at least 10 minutes. So, I guess when I spoke last, I just arrived in New York and literally just kind of did the podcast and went to sleep. The next day I woke up and I kind of did the touristy crap in New York. I said I wasn't going to do, like the Statue of Liberty and kind of seeing the sights. I ended up at the end of the day, messaging our mate now, Greg Poverelli, and he said to hit me up because he's going to be at Pioneers. Pioneers is a little kind of bar in New York City, and I went there and played some pinball with him, had dinner, and they ended up starting a league, and I kind of wasn't part of it because it was like a team league kind of thing. So I started talking to Levy, Crazy Levy, that guy on Pinside that says the most outlandish shit. He's hilarious. He's hilarious. He's like the only guy on Pinside that is annoying and funny at the same time. So he
kind of guy.
Yeah. He's just like a real life troll. So I was talking to his partner, and I was kind of asking for comedy suggestions, like little bars and stuff, because the difference between New York and Vegas is Vegas will like flash lights in your face saying like, come in here, we've got something going on. In New York, there's like, the best places have like no signs at all, or a little crappy sign. So I ended up walking down to a place called the Stand, and it was hilarious because I said, is there comedy going on tonight? I'm like, yep, it's downstairs. I'm like, okay, how much does it cost? And I was willing to pay like, if you want to see like good caliber, comedy in Melbourne, you're paying like what, $50 or $60, or like $20 if you're going to go to that place in North Melbourne that sucks. It was free. Just like, just head on downstairs. And I saw these. It was an amazing night. And I can't remember everyone's name, but half the people had kind of like Netflix specials, and they were on like Jimmy Kimmel and all those kind of things. So that was a great night. The next day, I went on a tour with Charles Thomas to the Jersey Jack Pinball Factory. So that was in New Jersey. It was about a 2-hour drive from New York. Absolutely blown away.
How great's the tour?
it was just a private tour. It was just me, Charles, and Jack. And the reason why it blew me away is that you can see pictures, and even if someone kind of films the whole walkthrough, until you're there in person, it just doesn't seem big. And I tried to take a nice panoramic picture, and I posted it on Facebook. It looks small, and when you look at it on your computer, it's big, it's deep, it goes so far back. And then when we got to the back, he was just like, "Here's the parts section. There's like $5 million worth of parts at any one time." And I was like, $5 million, like that's insane, because it just kind of like puts into perspective like the difference between them and some of the smaller guys. Pretty much everything was in final testing. So they had, Wizards of Oz there, The Hobbit, and Dialed In being made at the same time. Not everything was on the line, but everything was in final testing.
Sure.
I managed to pick up a Pindemption dongle.
Yes.
We've talked about it once before, and I messaged you and said, hey, I'm going to get one, and I needed to like lock it to a serial number. And I think it was about like 4 a.m. when I messaged you.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, so I ended up finding an old picture on my phone of me unboxing the Wizard of Oz, and it was a very grainy photo. So hopefully that works, and you can come over and stream it, and we can win fake tickets, I guess, because I don't have a ticket machine in my pinball.
So does it lock to the model, or it actually does lock to the?
It locks to your serial number. But basically, it then enables the option in the menu to switch to Pindemption. So that dongle already exists in the on the back of your computer on The Hobbit and Wizard of Oz. I think basically it's like an anti-cloning device.
Sure.
So it's HASP encrypted. I think that's what it's called. And that's why that's to lock it. So yeah, Jack was very gracious. Had lunch with him. I sat there. Oh, geez, we chatted for about like 2 hours or something, and I got the real Jack. Like no.
That's all you get though. Like every time I've met him, you just get Jack. Well,
I mean, I always feel like, he's representing the company. So if you ask him a question, he has to give you a sales kind of answer, because, I mean, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, that's what's kind of expected from a company, right? So I kind of talked to him, and I felt like I was talking to a friend. So that was great. And Jen was there, and he gave us a bunch of stuff to give away for the podcast. He gave us a signed Pirates of the Caribbean translate.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, it did get a tiny bit ripped on the way from Canada to Melbourne. A very small amount. We're still going to give it away because it is literally about like half an inch. It's very small. It's on the edge, so we're still going to give it away. And we also are going to give away a dialed in side decal signed by him as well. I'm not sure where you'd put a side decal. I guess you just hang it up on the wall like you would a translite or a backglass, or people hang up playfields. So
why not?
It looks great. So very very lucky to get that tour. After that, we went to the Silver Ball Museum just really quickly. And in between us arriving there and me leaving, a snowstorm kind of appeared out of nowhere on the first day of their spring. Silver Ball Museum, kind of like Pinball Hall of Fame, except everything works. That sounds really horrible thing to say, but the machines are in great condition. Apparently, it's really busy there, and people don't like it because of that, because you kind of just pay per hour. Like, I think you can pay $16 and you play all day, or like $12 for an hour, which is what we did because we didn't have time.
Any highlights? Any machines that you hadn't played before?
Yeah, sure. Lots of them that I don't remember because they were all like EMs and stuff, right?
Awesome.
The funny thing was they had no Stearns there, and it was all they had 3 JJP machines, and all the rest were kind of the Bally Williams DMD era, and then a whole bunch of solid states and Fire. I remember playing Fire. That's a fast game.
Yeah, it's a good game.
It always freaks me out when I play an old game and it's faster than the newer stuff. For some reason, I always associate Slow and Floaty to old games.
Sure.
What else? So it continued to snow it took us forever to get back home. It continued to snow and snow and snow, and I woke up and it was, like what I imagine Christmas is like in the US, where it was just like 7 or 8 inches of snow. Everyone was freaking me out saying your flight's going to get cancelled to Toronto. You got one more day left in New York. What are you going to do? I really wanted to see Central Park. I forgot to do that on the first day. I was planning to do it on Wednesday, but I thought, how am I going to get there when it's snowed under? So I caught the train to the city, ended up hanging out with Chris from Canadian Pinball Podcast and Brenda. They took me out for lunch, and it was amazing. They shouted me to a really nice kind of steak lunch, and I got drunk because he just kept on filling up. Not Chris, the waiter kept on filling up my my drink. We went back, and of course, Chris wanted to do a podcast. That's what you do when you're drunk with friends in a little apartment. Yeah, and then we went for a little walk in Central Park. You can actually do it. I had the wrong shoes. You meant to like wear gumboots and stuff like that. I had normal shoes, so I just got totally soaked all the way through. Then we headed to Sunshine Laundromat, which is kind of one of the things I really wanted to do there. They were running a tournament.
What do you think of Sunshine Laundromat, or just overall, before you go to the tournament?
The games there are set up really hard.
Yes.
There's no replays, so
Correct.
if you get to the replay value, you get an extra ball.
Sure.
So, I mean, the place is designed to make money. I did have a nice long chat to Peter, the guy who owns it, and he kind of talked about the evolution of how it started and how he came about doing it. And I'm sure it's been podcasted before, and if it hasn't, maybe we should get him on the show, because he's a really nice guy. And
but I guess what I'm talking about is like the reveal, right? Like when you walk in,
I've seen it so many times.
But when you actually, so had I. But when you actually experience it, it's very cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I didn't think. I mean, every time I see it, there's like maybe one or two pinball machines stacked on top of, the laundry thingies. There was a lot of them. There was like 10, like he's running out of room, 10 pinball machines stacked there. So, it's an amazing place, because the thing I also noticed in New York and in Canada is the barcade crowd is very young.
Right.
I guess there really is only one thriving barcade here, and that's, Bytronica, right? And the crowd there is fairly young as well, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, the place was pumping, and it was a kind of a league night. So I think there was no finals. It kind of builds up to some monthly event. I did okay. I think I came 11th out of 25 people or so. But I mean, there was a massive list of people that finished 11th. I started with an absolutely horrible game where I lost to someone on a game who was chin flipping, and that's just depressing. It's depressing, but it's also like really good for the person good for them, and yeah. So that was with Greg Poverelli running it, and all of his friends. I'm not going to mention everyone, but yeah, we hung out there after the tournament. We played dollar games. I taught him how to play Guardians of the Galaxy because he hasn't played it on the newer code. And it's funny because people don't believe that it's all day now. People still think it's grid all day. And they still don't believe you until you show them. And I got like a 200 million jackpot, which is like pretty much the lowest you can get, the super jackpot on Orb. And they were all freaking out over that small amount. I'm like, if I'd hit the hurry up properly, that would have been $1 billion. So, yeah, that was a great night. That was pretty much my New York experience. I mean, there's so much things to do in New York. I could have stayed there a lot longer. The next day I was off to Toronto and 24 hours with Jeff Teolis. So
how'd that go for you?
God, he's a funny guy. He rocked up to the airport wearing a kind of an AC/DC. Yes. The picture's on our Facebook page. Yes. An AC/DC t-shirt, like an Australian bush hat, the kangaroo sack in his hands. Oh my gosh. And, got in his car and he started playing I Come From the Land Down Under, and he basically made a Spotify playlist of all Aussie songs, including the Wiggles. And he bagged me about like the Wiggles, right? He knows the Wiggles song off by
he does.
I'm serious. He was singing the entire lyrics.
Oh, I know he does.
Yeah. So
hilarious.
We went out for lunch and then we headed to Player One. And Player One is basically like the Canadian equivalent of AMD in Australia. So they're kind of like the biggest pinball and amusement distributors. Sure. And these guys are so big, they got bought out by a place called Cineplex, which is kind of like the equivalent of like Hoyts or Village, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? But Cineplex is so big, they also own something called like Rec Room, which...
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of Rec Room?
Yeah, on the PlayStation, on the VR thing.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Okay, what are you talking about with Rec Room?
Okay, Rec Room is like this company in Canada. I'm not sure if it's in the US as well.
Sure.
It's the weirdest mix of like kind of different rooms. So you walk into this place and it's a restaurant, but it's also like an amusement center, kind of like Time Zone, with pinballs. And then it's like a bar attached to that. and then you've got a pool hall with like skee ball and pool tables, and you've got like a place out back where they play live music. It is all, and then there's private rooms for dining, and there's like a place where you can eat like just, poutine and stuff like that. It's all these weird things in one. The place is huge, and Player One is owned by the same company. So, because of that, I think a lot more pinball machines and a lot more amusement devices, machines are going out into public. And he showed us the factory, and it was absolutely amazing. I mean, you think a pinball box is big that houses a pinball machine. Those massive, like balloon dropping things, they're insane. The boxes they come in are just, just big. So that was Jerry Power, and he kind of allowed us to kind of stay there and play his pinballs. And gave us kind of tour after hours, which is really, really nice. We didn't announce that we're coming, and he was very nice to kind of let us in. After that, we went to Yak Yaks, which was a comedy event, and we sat right at the front, and we knew we were going to be picked on. And right when he started picking on people, Jeff whispered a bit of kind of like banter and like a heckle to throw back at the guy, and I did. And the guy had no comeback for it. If I was thinking of the heckle myself, the guy would have absolutely destroyed me. But it was a comment about his shirt being unironed, and he said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm an iron salesman. I'll give you one for free so you can iron your fucking shirt." Something like that. And the guy was like so upset. He looked at me, and he didn't have a comeback. And that was all Jeff Teolis.
Because that wasn't a heckle. That was just really mean.
He was fucking up people. Okay, like he was. This wasn't like a nice comedy event. Like, he was trying to destroy people. So
he deserved it, is what you're saying.
Yeah. And then he asked Jeff what he did, and he like pathologically lied so damn good that the guy he's like, okay, that story checks out. He was pretending that he was like a flight attendant or something, and he knew the whole backstory. So don't trust Jeff Teolis, is what I'm trying to say. After that, we went to a place called Cabin Fever, which was probably my favorite place in Canada, because I went back there the night after and the night after again. And basically it's a little place with, I think 8 or 9 pinball machines. And a lovely woman called Robin runs the place. And that just kind of became my second home while I was in Toronto. Oh, awesome. Is this boring to everyone? I don't know.
No, not to everyone, just me.
Okay. I got one more day. Hit up Niagara Falls the next day. Amazing to see it in person finally. I would have loved to go out in the water, but it was not available until May. Very weird town. They're trying to make it a tourist destination. I guess it is a tourist destination, but they're trying to make people stay there longer. So they got casinos. They got really weird kind of like haunted mansion walkthroughs there. We walked through a massive arcade to see if there's any pinball machines, and there wasn't, which was quite funny. Later that night, Jeff left to go to you can probably blame me for Jeff performing badly at the Pro Circuit event, because we were on about, I think, 2 or 3 hours sleep or something. I went to the Raptors game. Do you know who the Raptors are, Marty?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, I didn't know who they were either until I was pretty much there at the event. So it's a NBA team, and they are Canadian. Well, I guess the players aren't really Canadian, but they're based in Toronto, and they're the number 1 team. So I got tickets for that, and basketball is a weird sport to watch in person, because it's probably the only sport where people would cheer louder for someone throwing T-shirts into the crowd than their team actually winning the game. And I'm not joking. Like, people going ape shit to try and get the guy with the T-shirt cannon to fire a T-shirt cannon at them.
Right. They need to play pinball more. I have to say no to people giving me T-shirts these days. I've got that many of them.
Well, I ended up catching one.
Not you, Chris Fanchi. I'll have your T-shirt, thank you.
I ended up catching one, and it wasn't a T-shirt; it was like a sweat towel. So I just gave it to someone that was sitting next to me. I was like, I don't need a sweat towel. This means nothing to me.
No, the glory was catching it, right?
Yeah, because everyone was like, everyone was like, it was like cracked to them. They're like, give it to me.
I know.
Anyway, that was fun. After that, I went to Cabin Fever. I met Jack Tavern. He's really good at playing pinball. He's like in the top 40 or so in the Power 100, and he has all the high scores of that place. You're going to Toronto as part of your trip, Ryan?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I need you to go to Cabin Fever and hang out with those guys there, and girls. And Robin is a fan of gin. So
there you go.
and she can hold her liquor.
Okay.
I tried to have a drinking contest with her, and she won. Dan Beeson is also there as well. Dan's like the operator who has pinball machines there, and he has pinball machines kind of all around Toronto. And he didn't think he was much of a good pinball player. I looked at my videos on the plane, and I'm filming him drunk while he's drunk, and he rules the universe on AFM, and he pretty much did that entire rule the universe bit. We have to clock up 5 billion with one hand. So that was fun. The last day, sorry, that wasn't the last day. This is the last day. Last day, I headed down to something called Pinball for Change. And basically, it's a charity run by a guy called Walt Morose. And in the last 3 years, they've raised about $20,000, which is quite an achievement. And they hold it in different locations each time. It's a match play event, 13 rounds. And they held it at a guy called Mike Lucci. And it was an amazing collection. I think I showed you a little video, Marty, of the place when I was there. And it's got machines from all eras, EMs, solid states, and DMDs. I was asking advice from Bruce because pin tips is good, but it's not that good if you really want to know how to play a game, because it'll tell you something like, oh, if you get multi-ball, like shoot this, but it doesn't tell you how to kind of like start the game and go through that journey. So Bruce was giving me a lot of tips on that, and also Jack as well. I went pretty well. I ended up coming second in the event out of I think close to 30 people.
Awesome.
And the era of games that I played the best on was EMs, and an EM that's working, an EM with like one dodgy flipper, I can't play. But an EM that's like the flippers are working right, I get into good grooves, and I don't know, maybe I should buy an EM or something. I don't no idea which one. The only one that I played that I remember playing before is Grand Slam, which I believe our friend
Marcus has,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew the rules of that. Get the bases loaded, but then don't hit a home run. Just kind of keep on cashing the loaded bases in. That's pretty much it. That's my entire trip.
I love you say it.
Awake.
It's like that's pretty much it. As though you've been speaking for 2 minutes. That was 25 minutes.
Was it 25 minutes?
No, it just felt like it.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. No, it sounds like an amazing trip. And as you said, look, I will be going to Toronto, so hopefully get to experience some of
Cabin
that.
Fever. That's all you need to go to. Cabin Fever.
Might bring Robin some gin from Australia.
Yes, please let me pay for it, because she shouted me many drinks.
All right. I will definitely let you pay for it. So my week, I got to tell you, was nowhere near as exciting as that.
Yes. I didn't make it sound very exciting, though. By the way, everyone, I haven't slept in like 2 days, so you're getting the. That's why I sound really mellow, right?
No, as the big exciting thing for me this week was I got to pay for my trip, so that is all absolutely locked in. I am going, nothing stopping me now, so that's really good. The other thing I wanted to say, a big thank you to Dr. John for bringing me back my second set of Pin Stadium.
You're hooked, Marty. You're hooked.
I am. And which machine do you think they're going on?
The Hobbit, obviously.
No. Star Trek. And because what I want to see, I've got this theory, right? Because the first time I saw Pin Stadium was on an Aerosmith, right? And it just made this machine pop. And a lot of people have said, you don't really need Pin Stadiums on Sterns because they're bright enough. And for the most part, I actually think that's true. But I just want to see what difference it makes and whether it really does make it even better. God, I'm sounding more and more like a shill of Pin Stadium.
You are a shill. I said as well as organising the spooky distribution thing, I
Yes.
talked to Scott, and there's a kickback involved, okay?
Yeah, sure.
We're going to be rich. This pinball business, podcast, there's a lot of money involved, okay?
But the other big news of the week, you ready?
Yes.
Big news of the week, Argonauts is returning. So Argonauts,
the Argonauts, my favorite competition, my favorite little tournament.
Your favorite tournament. So there's not really that many competitions or tournaments in Melbourne, and Argonauts was one of the greats. And I think the last IFPA comp was in December last year, and it went through some changes this year. So for those people that have listened to the podcast and have gone to the Argonauts before, I believe it's coming back in May, I think is when it is.
There's a dialed in there now. There's a dialed in alley on location in Melbourne. We bitched about it many times,
at the Golden
and there is
Fleece.
one now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So go to it. You know, it's an awesome venue. So anyway, I'm just glad that Argonauts is back. So that was really good news this week.
That's another shill, mate. That's 3 shills in a row.
Yeah, that's all I got this week. I've just got shills. So start paying up, bitches.
Shall we head to the mailbag?
Yeah, I reckon just one bit of mail this week, and then we'll do the rest tomorrow.
Okay. Shane?
First one is from Shane. Hi, Shane. I know Shane. He says, been a bit rusty on the comp scene. That right there is understating it. Hasn't been at a comp for a very long time, and was the person that got me into playing comps, so there you go. He said, but one thing that's always been daunting, even before I eased back on tournaments, was playfield multipliers. I generally don't like the way modes play out with these, but reckon I need to know in my head how they all slot together. Would you guys recommend, what would you guys recommend is a good machine for learning the concepts of playfield multipliers, either by watching a tutorial or playing firsthand? And he said, I know Game of Thrones seems to be a good one for this, but what are the others? What do you think?
That's just an open-ended question because every machine executes multipliers in a different way. So you really have to name which game you want to talk about and, dialed in multipliers. Click the SIM card and then your mode is 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x.
What do you think would be the simplest to understand as far as multipliers go?
But knowing, Star Trek, hit the warp ramp 10 times and you're in double scoring.
Yep.
But that's a 60-second multiplier, whereas on Ghostbusters, you have to hit this stupid skill shot. Usually, that's the easiest way to do it. That lights 2x and 3x, and then you kind of wail on the targets as much as you can. I don't know. So they're all different. So how do you learn multipliers when every pinball machine executes in a different way?
And they're all about freaking multipliers. I was just thinking about KISS, right? KISS where you get, shot multipliers and then you get playfield multipliers.
If you finish 2 songs on
my God. So, you know what?
Batman multipliers, finish jail the villain, but then keep on going and then you get 2x for the modes and then you get extra shot.
In a way, it's actually a really simple divide. People that understand multipliers get the high scores. People that don't. Yeah.
And so you have to learn it for every game.
And as we know, we've talked about Star Wars enough. That's the ultimate because you've got to place your multiplier where it needs to be.
Yeah.
So there's no real answer there, Shane. He sort of basically was saying he wanted to come over and play Game of Thrones. So the invitation's open. Come on over. I will show you how multipliers work in my very limited understanding that I've got of Game of Thrones.
Cool.
So that's it for now. But don't forget, if you see us come up on your feed tomorrow, 24 hours from now, it's because Iron Maiden's been released. But you probably know that already by that time.
Yeah, we're going to talk for 2 hours about Iron Maiden, how cool it is.
We really are. But in the meantime, please go to our Facebook page at Head2Head Pinball. Twitter is at H2H Pinball. Email us head2headpinball@gmail.com or Instagram, which is Head2Head Pinball. You know what? What might be a bit of fun? If you're hearing this right now, people, write in now with all your predictions of what Iron Maiden's going to look, and then we will read them out tomorrow and we will laugh at you for being wrong.
They've got a very small window, but yes, please do it.
Please send us lots of emails. So, Thank you. Welcome back, Ryan. It's really good to have you back.
Thank you.
And
is my speech impediment cured?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Thanks, Jeff Jealous. He taught me how to speak English.
All right, we'll speak to you very soon.
See ya.
Bye.